Now, as you may have read in the newspapers, Lynda Bellingham is not very well. She has one of the most familiar faces in Britain. She's been in lots of plays in both the theatre and on television, including All Creatures Great and Small and Calendar Girls. She was one of the loose women, but she'll always be remembered as the mum in the OXO ads. She's just published a second volume of autobiography, and it's called rather ominously, There's Something I've Been Dying to Tell You. Lynda, it was July 2013. You were seeing a doctor, Mr. Cohen, with Michael, your husband. What happened?
I basically had been to a read-through of A Passionate Woman, which was to be my next play, thanks to David Pugh and David Rogers, who very kindly, it was my reward for Calendar Girls, 5 years on the road with Calendar Girls. And it was my big moment, really, because, as you know, you get defined by your work. People place you in boxes. And so, but I'd had breathlessness and indigestion, all the normal things of reaching. We don't do age, but
No, we don't.
No, we don't at all. But there's a period where one goes through breathlessness and indigestion, and I'd gone for a what's the one I keep forgetting, where it's a baby. It's not a scan. It's the other one. Where
I know what you mean.
Water and anyway.
Ultrasound.
Thank you very much. And the woman, while she was doing it, said, you've got a shadow on your liver. I said, no, I don't know at all. Would you like me to do a scan one? Yeah, that'd be very nice, thank you very much. Took it to this doctor, and I'd gone through Bupa because ever since I was a student, as an independent, employed person, I have to be fit. And he looked at them and he said, well, look, I was going on holiday to finish off this book. Another book, and he said, go on holiday, that's absolutely fine, and when you come back we'll check everything out. Came back, this was 9:30 before sorry, I get confused. I'd done the read through, but he said, you're going to go and need to see a liver surgeon or a colon specialist next Tuesday. Why? And there was sort of pause, and I looked at him. It never occurred to me for a minute that there was anything wrong. Oh, no, nothing. Is it cancer? And he said, no, I'd be very surprised if it's cancer. Anyway, you'll have to cut this holiday and go on Tuesday. Oh, all right then. So I tipped up, and lovely Richard Cohen introduced us in and said, now, about your cancer. And he saw by our faces. I mean, my husband burst into tears, and I just went into that, and I couldn't even write it properly. I haven't written it properly.
It had become quite advanced, affecting your lungs and your liver.
Yeah.
Why do you think it hadn't been diagnosed earlier? Because you've been doing those bowel cancer tests that they send round to those of us who are over 60.
I hate to say it, the only actual positive way is a colonoscopy. And with all the things that are going on in the NHS and all the things that are happening to us about health, if you could put £1 away now, even if the NHS, it's like a mammogram, that is the only thing that will actually find it. And Justin Stebbing, my professor, said, the brightest, the stupidest cancer cell will outwit the brightest oncologist. And it did. It hid.
Now, you said that at first, when you cancelled A Passionate Woman, and it was said that you were being treated for cancer, people assumed you had breast cancer. And then you said, but I wanted to write about what I describe as my not very pretty cancer. Why were you keen to get information out about it?
Because poo. It's the second biggest killer. And we don't talk about poo. We don't do poo, and we don't do death. And if I could take you back 5 years, I desperately tried to sell a series of documentaries to companies, but I couldn't get the right title. It's a bit like, something I'm trying to tell you. We must address it. And I'd like to stress that the book is not a book about cancer, actually. It's not a book about me, even. It's a book about everybody out there who is faced with a terminal illness. And there is so much to deal with. Never mind the death bit, but so many people don't speak to their partners about it, don't understand a will, don't understand how it has ripples in a pond. And I tried to sell it as each documentary, because, for instance, to lose somebody suddenly, I think must be absolutely desperate. To lose a child out of the natural order of things. And then to be faced with the horizon. Once you've been given, we're all going to die, and it's just how we do it. And also the assumption now that because medicine is fantastic and advanced and there's research, that there's no guarantee. Just because a survey says, oh, you can live until you're 80. No.
How have you retained your sense of humour through all this? I mean, you dubbed your cancer FU2 after one of the chemotherapy
It was a
drugs.
very long word.
Yeah. We'll just keep it at FU2, shall we? And you call your stoma Furby.
I do. Goes everywhere with me. Well, that was the biggest shock because I was doing so well at Christmas. It was all, the chemo was working. Then I had a perforated colon. And this is, again, nature throwing a screwball at you because then I'm in hospital. And that was another thing I wanted to write about. People going to hospital. It's horrible when you've never been in. Well, suddenly you're in another, and the control is taken away from you, which is just awful. So I woke up with this strawberry on my tummy. I thought, oh, this is nice. And then didn't know what to do with it. And it tweets. It kind of goes, and always in a quiet bit. So I thought, well, I need to name it. I need to associate with it. This is the hardest thing. I was thinking when I was coming on, the toilet thing. But honestly, folks, you just have to embrace it and learn to live with it and kind of love it. So I embraced it and loved it. And
gave it a nickname.
I gave it a nickname so that we could all not refer to this red strawberry. And I find that the hardest thing. It's like, for instance, disabled toilets. If you're not in a wheelchair, people tend to think, well, I did, completely insensitive. And a woman gave me, airports and things like that are a nightmare. I don't know how, I dread it. I dread being on a train, which happened to me the other day, and there's a queue, and you're trying to get your tights up over Furby, who doesn't want to lie low, and there was a woman, she was so horrible to me. She said, well, you don't look disabled, and then she said, oh, it smells in here. And I just lifted up my jumper and showed her my stoma bag and said, well, you deal with it then.
And I bet she was horrified.
She was. She ran a mile.
No, you've always loved food and cooking and wine. And yes, there was the OXO thing. I know you hate it when that's always referred to.
Queen of the gravy now.
But how have you dealt with the loss of sense of taste?
It's awful. That's one of the worst. I mean, I'm really positive, honestly, really positive about the dying. I mean, I can deal, well, my family, it's taken a year, but they've been amazing. Yes, you can't even rely on comfort food, Jenny, because toast is my ultimate delight in life, toast. I get it in my mouth and it's just cardboard. So I have to use my powers of acting to imagine what it used to be like, toast and butter. Because it's heartbreaking. But I cook dinner every night. I've cooked dinner. It's interesting that you're doing that thing today about housewifery is just the most hardest, difficult, all-inclusive, amazing job. But I've fed them every night for 15 months. And I do it all. And we had one, unfortunately, with salt, of course, which I went a bit over the top.
And that's your husband and your sons, of course, who are going through a terrible time.
Terrible.
And you made it very public that you have decided to stop your treatment with the expectation that you will die in the new year.
Yeah.
How hard was it to make that decision?
You have to think about it right from day one, don't you, really? And it's taken a year, as I say, to absorb. And I didn't realise until yesterday. We don't know our children, do we? We don't talk to our children. Well, we do, but it's everyday stuff. And having got Michael and I sorted, it's just that he knows now. He said 15 months ago he would never have encouraged it selfishly. You must hang in there, you must hang in there. But once you see someone you love with ulcers in their mouth and ulcers in their throat and the wounds won't heal up and the stoma bag and the legs have started to go. And I, as I said, I try to keep these away from everybody because you do deal with them. They're not, and then the boys, and I think, oh, that's marvellous. And I'm in a contented control. I have one little decision in a box if I want to make it. If it's like it is now and the legs go a bit from time to time, that's fine. But once they see an old, not me, I don't want that. And we've got work through it.
Are you frightened?
Yes. Ultimately. But only because at that last moment, I don't want a great big Wuthering Heights, come to my bed, I'm going to whisper goodbye. No, I just want to drift off quietly, have a little sleep. We've said what we have to say, and I'm so lucky, Jenny, to talk to my boys. They come and talk to me, talk to Michael, and in the middle of the night we'll just go, it's not fair, but you can't go there.
Lynda Bellingham, thank you very much indeed
Thank
for
you
being
for
with
having
us.
me.
It's not often I'm reduced to tears,
No,
but
come on, you can do it, and thank
I'm
God
gonna
you're
miss
still
you, Bellingham.
here. That glass of wine.
thank you very much.